15 years ago, after much contentious debate, South Carolina came together in a bipartisan way to move the flag from atop the Capitol dome. Today, we are here in a moment of unity in our state, without ill will, to say it's time to move the flag from the Capitol grounds.
Statement made live here on Newsmax mere moments ago, the governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley. Now, the slaughter of 9 innocent people inside a South Carolina church has rippled across America and around the world, demanding that people everywhere take a stand. And while to many the proper stand isn't in question, there are still those seeking to put this into something other than a racial hate crime. And plenty of people treating any talk about a certain flag as radioactive. Not here. Welcome in Manhattan attorney and syndicated radio talker Adam Thompson, along with veteran broadcast journalist who also happens to be a native New Yorker, Steve McPartlin. Gentlemen, I thank you both for joining us. Adam, as the attorney here, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. It would seem that Nikki Haley did exactly what she needed to do. She straddled both sides of the fence, I think, brilliantly, and she basically sent a message late in her statement. If state lawmakers don't get this done, I will do it for you.
You know, listen, we all have First Amendment protection for free speech. There's a lot of people out there who are going to say that the Confederate flag doesn't have any negative symbolism in its truest form, that it just represents some type of Southern posture or position. And they may be right, but to many others, it has a very clear history of racial tension and hatred that people want to see it go away. You know, you had Mitt Romney speak out to put an end to it. You had Jeb Bush put an end to it while he was governor in Florida. He took the flag down. And you see a lot of people from the right and conservatives now going in that direction. And I think that's the right way to go. I think the clip that you played was on point. She's very accurate in what she says, that should be done. I think it's time. There's no need to have that symbol that to so many offends and hurts to really still be there. It's time to just move on to a new chapter.
Steve, I think that's part of it, too. Senator Lindsey Graham said the flag is, quote unquote, part of who we are. And I think a lot of people are going to ask him to basically make that clear. And a lot of Republicans and Democrats, let's just not put it in the GOP side, they're going to have to take a stand here now that this has been brought to the fore in this manner.
Well, I'm not sure that presidential candidates have to take a stand on this. I tend to agree with Rick Santorum when he said this is something that needs to be decided in those states, in South Carolina and Mississippi and other states that might still, for some reason, have that flag on state grounds. My personal opinion is that there is no room for that flag on any state house, in any state house, on the grounds of any state house, anywhere in the country. And my reasoning is this. When you get elected, you are mandated to represent all of the people, not the people who are your constituents, not the people who are members of your party, not just those people, but the people who didn't vote for you as well. You are there to represent everyone, and this flag is obviously a symbol of oppression and hatred to many people in South Carolina, many people throughout the entire South. And why should they have to see it every day? Why should they have to be brought back and remember the worst segment of our country's history? Why? It doesn't make any sense at all. And I want to ask Adam a question real quick.
30 seconds.
Does the state have freedom of speech? I don't believe it does. The Constitution tells the state that it has to give the people freedom of speech.
That's correct. It's an individual right to the person himself. So just as we have protests where, you know, white supremacists can walk down the street like in Skokie, Illinois with Nazi symbols, and they were permitted to do that, you know, ages ago, and it still goes on today. You have that right to free speech. People could disagree with you. Let the world know what an idiot you are if you follow those ideologies. But the state is different. As you said, the state is there to represent everyone. And when you have such a racial tension, it has to be put to an end.
All right, gentlemen, stand by. Breaking back with a turn to Karl Rove's comments about the Second Amendment and the pop princess who shook Big Bad Apple to the core. Who'd have thunk it, right? Stay with us. We question everything. MidPoint continues. Okay, let's get back to work. Manhattan attorney, syndicated radio talker Adam Thompson, veteran broadcast journalist and commentator Steve McPartlin. All right, Steve, I'm going to start with you on this one. First, Karl Rove. A tremendous amount of people were going, huh, when they saw over the weekend the headline, only way to stop the violence, gun violence, is to repeal the Second Amendment. What they didn't note was that his actual comment was, that's not going to happen. It caught a lot of people off guard, but let's be honest, the Second Amendment is not going to be repealed.
Of course it's not going to be repealed. You know, I think discussions like this shouldn't happen so closely after an incident that happened like what happened in Charleston last week, because we're all operating from an emotional point of view. And that's really not the best way to govern. That's really not the best way to put your best foot forward, is when you're operating from an emotional point of view. It's when you have an argument with somebody and they say, well, what if it was your kid? Well, if it was my kid, I would feel differently. But I'm supposed to think from an arbitrary, logical, objective point of view. The Second Amendment is going nowhere. However, can we have a discussion about gun control? Yes, we can. But if we have that discussion, I think we also have to have a discussion about mental health. And I'd like to counsel his opinion about this for just if I can impose for just a second. There is one part of one constitutional guarantee that I think we should maybe waver on, and that's the right to privacy. I think to get a gun, maybe your medical record should be available for you to get the permit to have a gun.
Okay, let me stop you there for a sec because we're short on time. I only got 2 minutes. Adam, 30 seconds. Response, please.
Yeah, I think it is time for a real discussion on the ability to get a handgun, and that includes going into medical backgrounds and mental health status a lot more than we presently are. Now, so close to the event, not maybe the right time, but we need to open this discussion more broad-based. The Second Amendment's not going anywhere, Ed.
Adam, let's talk about another discussion here. The president, in a podcast interview with a comedian over the weekend, used the N-word, and people are absolutely going apoplectic at this point. This might, again, be another conversation, Adam, that we need to have out in the open. Or should we?
I think we should have it out in the open. I'm a big advocate of free speech, as you know, and I'm so tired of all the political correctness and people, you know, walking around on eggshells about words. It's words. It's just ideas. Some things could be taken offensively, but some things discussed in context means something. So why not be able to use certain words in certain contexts to get a point across? People are so worried about offending people. We got to get past that. If we're really an educated society and community, let's move on to express ideas, not worry about little things like certain meanings of words.
Interesting how this is the anniversary of George Carlin's death in 2008, and he said exactly the same thing about words. 30 seconds, Steve. You get the pop culture here. Taylor Swift says, Apple, you can't have my music. That's it. And Apple says, okay, Taylor, we'd rather have your money instead. I tend to think that it was the right thing to do, and I may not be a fan of her music, but good for her.
I think Taylor Swift is the most powerful woman in America, perhaps the world. This pop singer just brought the biggest, richest company in the world to its knees and made them agree immediately, virtually immediately, to her will. I have a lot of respect for this young lady. I respect her music, I respect her talent, and I respect how she stands up for herself and for other artists. This wasn't all just about her. It was about other artists too. And
look at it this way. I mean, really what it is, Steve, it's Apple saying, okay, if you want to be part of us, you got to work for free.
Yeah, well, and her point was, no. Why should I give you my talent for free?
Exactly right. Gentlemen, all out of time. Steve McPartlin, Adam Thompson, thank you so much, guys. We'll do it again.